Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to MDZ Music, where we talk about our songwriting process. My name is Eli Mendez. Please make sure to follow me on all social media at Eli Mendez 1109. MATTIX wasn't able to make this series. You can catch him on our next series. In this 3-episode series, I'm going to be talking about how I wrote the song Places. So in this specific episode, I'm going to break down the process on how to do a pre-chorus, a pre-verse, and background vocals. I'm going to show you the placement within the beat to do those things, and then I'm going to show you how I did that for Places. Let's get started. Okay, so just to recap, on the first episode, we talked about the chorus for Places. I broke down the process on how to find that within the beat and how to create melodies. And on the second episode, I covered the process on how to do a verse, the same thing, where to find the placement within the beat to do the verse, and then how I did it for Places. So for most songs, like I've said before, I've talked about the structure, the most common structure for a song. This specific song, I usually start off with the structure, and then I kind of branch out from there depending on how the beat sounds. So going back to what that common structure is, you're going to have a chorus, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, bridge, and then the chorus. But I didn't do it quite like that. I started off with a verse, and then I did a pre-chorus, and then a chorus, a pre-verse, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, pre-verse, verse 3, pre-chorus, and then the chorus. So I did do different things, but for this song Places, I'm gonna show you with lyrics the pre-chorus, and then I'm gonna show you with lyrics the chorus, and how I found those within the beat, and also how I did the background vocals. Once you have the beat loaded, what you'll want to do is you want to look at the beat, and we've covered the chorus, we've also covered the verses, and we decided that for this specific song, once I listened to the beat, I decided that the chorus is going to be in this area back here. The verse is going to be here. And I decided that because after listening to it and looking at it, I could tell that even though this whole area is big, this was the bigger part. So after listening to it, I also noticed that there was a place between the verse and the chorus. And I decided to make this part the pre-chorus. So after listening to it, I decided to make that the pre-chorus. I also noticed that after the chorus, which is right here, the beat changes right here, as you can see right here how it gets smaller. So I decided to make this the pre-verse. So it's the pre-verse, and then the verse kicks in, verse 2 kicks in right here, and it's like that throughout the beat. As you can see, same thing. The middle is this of the bigger part. That's gonna be the pre-chorus, and then again, I did the pre-verse right before this last part, which is verse 3. And that's how I was able to find the placements for the pre-chorus and the pre-verse. Okay, so this first part is going to be the pre-chorus.
You say it's perfect, baby, misty and different to me. You say it's this way, baby, it seems it circles to me.
This next part is going to be the pre-verse.
Places, different stages. These places, different phases. These places. I feel so far away. I feel so far away. Separated by the waves. I feel so far away.
Okay, for the pre-chorus, what I wanted to do was, the melody is similar to what I created for the chorus, and how I did the lyrics for that is I had written down the words. So I have the concept. I started writing down as many words as I could think of, like I've talked about in previous episodes. And so for the pre-chorus, I painted the picture of the idea of, like I said, being lost, it being foggy, being misty, trying to go this way or that way. So for the pre-verse, what I did is the pre-verse is completely different, and you can see that once I play. Basically, it's just getting the moment ready for what the verse is. So basically, what the pre-verse says is same thing. I'm using same words, very similar words, places. I'm talking about different stages of the moment of traveling, and I do bring up the point that we are in a different the space between basically Texas and where I was, the ocean was separating. So I felt like I was separated by the waves of the water, is what I say specifically. And so, like I said, I had written all these words down. I started putting it all together. And so that's how I was able to create the pre-verse. And for when I was doing the pre-chorus or the pre-verse, I still was doing my mumbling phase. I mumbled melodies to try to create a sound or a melody that I thought would go good with that specific moment within the beat. And so you'll want to do that. You'll want to do the different mumble takes, and you'll do multiple. And what I do usually, like I've said before, is I'll put some together of parts that I like specifically, or I'll use one specific one that I liked. But that's what you'll want to do. You'll want to do your mumbling process. And as you're doing your mumbling process, you'll want to look back at the words that you've written down, and you start to plug in those words into that melody that you've created. And like I've said before, it's a little bit easier when you do it that way. And then you'll want to put in complete sentences once you're doing your that process. Okay, so now you have your song complete. You have everything that you want to, all the main parts of the structure of the song. And at the end, what you're gonna want to do next is you're gonna want to do background vocals. And you never really understand how important background vocals are until you actually break down the song and you listen to it. When you hear it as a whole, a lot of times you don't really hear the background vocals, but it does fill in those gaps, those spaces. It gives it depth, like we've talked about before, and you never really notice them until you actually do them. And then whenever you hear the song with and without, you can definitely tell what the background vocals do to finish out the song. And so what I usually do for the background vocals is I look back. I play the whole song. I play the whole song as it's playing. I'll look at some of the words I've written down, and I'll start to repeat some of those words in a slightly different way to match the beat. And I do that multiple times throughout the whole song, and then I'll listen back to it, and I'll pick and choose off of multiple takes what parts I like more. And you can even just say simple words that you could say words like yeah or oh, or specifically say a part of a lyric that's in the song, or you can repeat a part you just said, and you can keep the same melody or you can change it. I like to change it a little bit, and it definitely does fill in those little spaces, but that's what you'll want to do when you're doing your background vocals. So an example of what that will look like, I'll show you a specific part with the background vocals, and I'll focus in on what the background vocal says. Here's what it looks like. So again, there's no right or wrong way in terms of songwriting. This is just the technique that I use. I do my mumbling phase. I think of concepts. I write down words, as many words as I can to think of those concepts, creating melodies, and then I fit in words that I've written down into that melody. You can do it however you want to do it, in any order you want to do it. This is just a technique that I use. So another thing is I want to talk about my personal preference, and that's for the final sound. That's going to be pitch correction and late reverb. But what you'll want to do is you'll want to find your final sound. You want to create a song that you like without trying to please anybody specifically. You just want to make it for yourself, and then make it for the people who end up liking that style of music. So that's going to be one of the more important things. So again, there's no such thing as the greatest song. All there is the song that you create, that you love, finding those, having those people find your song or sound, and then making it for them, like I've said before. And as long as you try to make music and it makes you happy at the end of the day. And then, of course, you'll want to practice. Make sure you're practicing. You practice, do as many songs as you can. And it does get easier once you start to develop your own technique or your own process. You'll just start doing it, and you'll create better lyrics, go in more depth, and it's all based off of practice. And then, of course, the whole point of all this is you want to have fun. Have fun and do it for yourself because it makes you happy. Hey guys, thanks again for watching MDZ Music. My name is Eli Mendez. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications to see brand new shows. Also, make sure to follow me on all social media to hear any current music that I'm working on. If you want to hear the full song, the link is in the description below. Also, if you want to hear any more of my music, you can find it on all digital outlets, Spotify, Apple Music. You can find it on YouTube. Please check some of that stuff out.
I'm missing home, baby. You say it's perfect.